People who are watching this on the replay right now, hello from Canada. Because you are on the replay watching this right now before these live viewers pop on, you know how I like to roll. I want to give you the super secret keyword that you're going to use when you wander on over to the Digital Gal, or facebook.com/thedigitalgal. So if you head over to my Facebook page, I want to give you stuff. I want to give you this and this and the holographic one that the green screen is showing you. So if you want these lovely little gifts and goodies, then do one of two things. Head on over to the Digital Gals Facebook page and type in this super secret keyword. And this week's keyword is glorious. So if you type glorious on any of the posts over on the Facebook page for the Digital Gal, facebook.com/thedigitalgal, and you type in the keyword glorious in any of those comments, then you'll get the chance for me to talk to my BF, my bot friend, and I will drop a nice little gift of goodies in the mail for you. So check that out. The other way to get that, if you want, let's try this. If you're actually watching this on desktop and you're not actually watching this on your mobile phone right now, then take your lovely mobile phone, crack open that camera, hover it over that QR code right there, and once the little drop down pops up that tells you it's read the code, just tap on it. It's going to launch Messenger. Once you're in Messenger, you're chatting with my BF, my bot friend, and you can enter your details. Whoops, as I'm throwing these around for a chance to get one of these lovely, lovely things. So there you go, replay viewers. If you want that, that's what you're going to do. You're going to crack open your phone, hit that QR code, or you're going to wander on over to facebook.com/thedigitalgal, and you are going to type in the super secret spectacular keyword, which for this week is glorious. So those are the way, and you can type it on any post. It'll trigger for any post. It's not going to trigger if you're watching this on YouTube. It's not going to trigger if you're watching this in any other Facebook group. Only on the Facebook page for the Digital Gal. So with that, I can see we've got live viewers popping on, so they'll have to watch the replay to get all of that secret information. So in the meantime, let's get this party started, shall we? And welcome back. My name is Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal, and I geek out on everything related to Facebook advertising, online advertising, and pretty much anything algorithms and analytics. That's definitely my language. Makes me happy. So I'm glad that you're here geeking out with me. This show is called What in the Ads is Going On. We focus on everything. What in the heck? What in the ads is going on? So every single week, I bring you information to help you untangle the craziness of Facebook advertising, which, by the way, changes weekly. So there's always content. This week we're going to be focusing in on 5 of the ad mistakes that I see often. Now, I did use the word mistakes in the headline and the title. That's usually because I'm not trying to be clickbaity, but, you know, I want to capture your attention that these are mistakes, so to speak. But in all honesty, I hate the word mistakes. Nobody's making mistakes. We're all just learning, and there's always a different way to do everything. So there's issues and glitches. 9 times out of 10, these are system issues, not your issues. So I don't want to say you made a mistake, because you're probably not making a mistake. It's probably the system. It's probably Facebook. It's Facebook, not you. I know I say that all the time, but it's because I truly mean it. So today we're going to be covering off 5 of those mistakes that I see. I can see a bunch of people popping on live right now. Do me a big favor, and yes, I said flavor. Drop a comment in the comments wherever you're watching this from and tell me where you are right now. So right now I'm in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, sipping on my lovely Tim Hortons coffee. Yes, I'm Canadian. I really wish the borders were open, because I wish I could see all of my friends who are in the States, and that's depressing. But it will happen. So in the meantime, cheers to wherever you are tuning in from at the moment. And before we kick this off, I wanted to mention that 2 cool things that are happening. Dates have now been announced for the next run of the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp. So if you want to learn Facebook ads from the ground up, and you want to learn everything from creating ads to audiences and targeting, budget and strategy, and reporting and optimizing, have I got goodies for you. The next bootcamp is kicking off on May 4th. So we have all the month of April for you to get yourself prepped and ready to learn and soak it in, but the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp kicks off on May 4th. It runs on every Tuesday. On the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th of May are the next bootcamp dates. And we've got Steve is in the house, the big flavor here. Tuning in from Ontario, Canada. I mean, oh, lockdown Ontario, Canada. I'm sorry, Steve. I've been watching your posts and your updates about the journey you've been going through. For those of you watching, Steve is a fellow Facebook ads geek. He is also a business owner and a small business owner with a physical business location that has been heavily impacted by the rolling lockdowns that have been happening. So, Steve, hang in there. I've been watching what's going on, and I'm glad you're speaking up about it too. So thank you for tuning in. All right, so bootcamp dates kicking off in May. If you want to learn Facebook ads from the ground up, you're going to go to swiftkickingtheads.com. Boop, and you're going to sign up for that. And that's included, the bootcamp is included with that. The other cool update is that I'm running next week on Tuesday, I'm running a workshop specifically for real estate professionals. So if you want to learn ads specifically for real estate, I've been doing real estate ads for over 6 years now and making lots of people lots of money. And I want to show you what I've been doing and how it's been working and how it really especially pertains to the special ads category that you fall under if you're working with real estate, anything related to real estate, whether you're selling real estate, whether you're selling to realtors, you definitely fall into that special ads category. So if you want to hop in on that workshop, that's happening on Tuesday. And if you can't make it on Tuesday, there's the option to pre-purchase the replay so that you'll get all those things in your hands. And it's a miniature version of that 4-week Facebook ads bootcamp. And guess what? If you buy the whole workshop, you get the bootcamp for free as well. Cool stuff going on. All right, so let's dig into today's topic. Let's get into that. And Steve, it's rough. Thank you. Trying to be positive. Thank you, Steve. Yes, we're facing similar things out here, but not quite as bad as Ontario. I know that for sure. So let's talk about today's topic. I'm going to give you a quick preview, as I like to do, of the things that I'm going to talk about, so you know if you want to stick it out or if you want to bounce, that's cool. So first and foremost, I'm going to be talking about some of these mistakes that you want to avoid when you're doing your Facebook ads. And again, I hate the word mistakes, but generally it's Facebook, not you. So like we talked about, not using that special ad category when it's required, and most of you think that it doesn't apply to you. Guess what? We'll dig into the reasons why in some cases it does, even when you don't think it does. And that's why your ads are getting rejected. Number 2, avoid resetting your budget in your drafts. When you're creating an ad for the first time and it's in draft, there are certain things that you may be doing that are, you maybe already set your budget and you carry on with a bunch of other settings. You make one change and all of a sudden your budget has reset again back to, $350 by default when you're like, I only wanted to spend $50. So we'll talk about that. Another issue to avoid is unnecessary editing of your campaigns that take them out of circulation. They send them back to Facebook for review, and then it basically restarts everything. So we'll dig into that. And then last but not least, if your naming structures of your ads are a hot mess. Yes, we'll talk about why that's important and why it's a mistake that you should avoid now, even if you don't think it's important now, why it's important down the road. So there you have it. If you are catching this live, drop me some more comments. I would love to see you here. And if you are commenting and I'm not having it pull through on my feed, then my sincere apologies. And I can already see comments rolling through with the super special keyword that I dropped at the very beginning of this broadcast. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's start here. Things to avoid. So special ad categories, I have an entire YouTube video on it if you want to learn what they are, how to walk through them step by step. There are technically 4 special ad categories. What these are, it's a setting that when you go to create your ad, you have to check it off or switch the little slider on to identify yourself, like self-identify. Hey, stop. Who are you? Identify yourself. With the giant flashlight flashing in on you. Anyway, it's a way for you to identify that, yes, the content I'm about to push out in an ad does pertain to one of these 4 categories, and therefore what Facebook does in the back end is it actually strips out some of your targeting abilities. Whole reason behind this is it's to prevent discrimination, make an even playing field for everybody. So those categories are housing, so anything real estate related, mortgage related, anything to do with marketing to or around real estate professionals, anything related to real estate, anything. You say the word real estate, you say the word properties, sales, buyers, sellers, it's going to trigger the AI like there's no tomorrow. So even if you, in fact, are right and you don't need the special ad category, chances are really good your ad is going to get flagged by the special ad category, meaning your ad's going to get rejected. Even if it was approved originally, it can still get caught up again and rejected, and you get caught in this hyperloop of ads getting rejected and you're frustrated and you don't know why. So housing, that's one of them. Credit and loans is another one. Jobs. So if you have a job posting or job listing. And the other one, the fourth one is social and political issues. So if you're in politics, you fall under this whole like umbrella of regulations, which is a bit of a nightmare to navigate, but also social issues. So think about it this way. If you are doing ads for a food bank or a charity, some of those charities can be considered social issues, and those are also regulated with Facebook's special ad categories. So if you fall under any of those 4 umbrellas, so again, housing, credit and loans, jobs, or social and political issues, if you fall into any of those 4, or if your content has trigger words or keywords in it that falls into any of those 4 categories, what happens is when you create your ad and you send your ad, you publish your ad. I'm like, all right, I've got my ad copy, my image, everything looks great, publish. What happens is Facebook has an entire artificial intelligence system, AI, that is crawling those ads to see if they comply with all of their ads policies. And if any of those keywords are triggering what would be considered falling under the umbrella of those special ad categories, it's automatically rejected, kicked back to you, and you're stuck there sitting, wait a second, but I'm not marketing a house for sale, so I don't need to be a special ad category. So then what you do is you go and appeal it. You appeal your rejected ad. You appeal it. That means instead of having it go through the automated system, you actually get a human. A human goes and looks at your ad and reviews your ad. And then the human can say, okay, yeah, you're right. You didn't actually fall under the special ad category. We're going to reverse this decision. We're going to approve this. And then that ad gets approved. Well, guess what? The AI keeps continually crawling ads all the time, and it's something that was approved can then all of a sudden get rejected out of the blue again. So you're caught in this endless cat and mouse loop. And it can get very costly, very frustrating, and it can turn you off as an advertiser and make you like throw your hands up in the air and say, I never want to touch Facebook ads again. Well, guess what? If you keep triggering the AI under one of the special ad categories, just comply. Use the special ad category. Yes, it strips away some of your targeting abilities. The whole point of it is to prevent discrimination, so that if you're marketing a house, for example, you can't just market that house to the good side of town and omit the bad side of town, and eliminate that opportunity for people of different income levels or different backgrounds to be able to have an equal opportunity to access that information. So it is protecting all of us. It might not necessarily pertain to you directly, but if you're getting caught in this hyperloop of the system catching it, just use the special ad category. Take the Facebook ads training, the boot camp that I have. I teach you some ways to but I teach you ways to work within the limitations of the special ad category, so you can still build high quality audiences and still make your ads work for you. All right, so that's the special ad category. Let's move on to numéro 2, part 2. So, second mistake that I see people making this one trips you up when you're first getting into using Ads Manager to create your ads. So we're not talking boosting posts with that little boost post button. This is when you've graduated off that, you're inside Ads Manager and you go to create an ad. Actually, let me see if I can do a quick screen share here and pull you into, let's put me over here. See if that works. Yeah, okay. You can see my stuff. So let's head over to create an ad. We're going to create an ad, and I'm going to put my face over here because once we get the draft going, there we are. So let's just pretend we're going to create a traffic ad, and let's just call this a test campaign. You know me, I always name tests so I remember to delete it after when I'm doing this on live camera. All right, continue. Okay, so when you go to create your ad using Ads Manager, you have all of these different areas that you can make decisions. So at the top one here is our campaign. We have different decisions at our campaign level. Then we have different decisions at our ad set level. And then we have different decisions we get to make at our ad level. And all of these, the robust suite of decisions that we get to make here help us, they really help us optimize so that we can make the best use of our budget. So we can spend our dollars wisely in the best possible place for us. So when we scroll down, there's 2 different places you could be setting your budget at. One is right at the campaign level. So we're on that very first one right here. And campaign budget optimization in this case is on. This little slider's on. So this is where we set our budget. So I can change this budget around. I can say I want lifetime budget. Now it defaults to $700 Canadian. I do not want to spend $700 Canadian on this right now. Maybe I only want to spend 50. Okay. Oh, yeah, not 500, 50. Thank you. And then I carry on and say I go and make some changes and do some edits. And let's say I want to go down here and muck around with some of my settings. Maybe I'm playing around with my placements and changing up some of my placements and maybe taking this one off and taking that one off. All right. And then say I change my mind on my objective. So I make a big change. I go back to my campaign. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's change this up. I want to go for a conversion campaign. Continue. Well, oh, and it didn't reset my budget. Sometimes, depending on what settings you're mucking with here, when you change some of your settings within Ads Manager, when you're going through the different campaigns, ad sets, and ads, it will reset this. So we already went and set our budget. We chose how much we wanted to spend. Then we continue going through making changes. And if we go and change our mind and change certain settings, it will reset that budget back to Facebook's defaults. And you saw that Facebook's default for me on a lifetime budget was $700. I don't want to spend $700. No, thank you. So that's another area that I see people get caught in. It's always in this draft mode when they're mucking around and changing screens and going through. So that's an area to look out for sure. All right. So that's talking about resetting your budget unknowingly in drafts. Then we've got this one over here. Unnecessary editing of campaigns. Stop it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Okay. Once you create your campaign, you've created your whole ad, you're using Ads Manager, created the campaign, set your budget, chose all your settings at your ad set, so you're targeting your placements, all of that, and then you've created the ad, you've gone and made the ad, and you've put in the link where you're going to send that traffic to, and you put in your ad copy and your headline, and you hit publish. Cool. Then you let it run for a few days. But then you notice you had a spelling mistake in there in one of the ads. You're like, oh no, I need to go and change that. Well, this is the point that I'm actually going to ask you. How important is it to you to actually change that spelling mistake? If you are a librarian, if you're a library and you're promoting like library services where you're talking about anything that involves anything literary, yeah, a spelling error is going to be kind of a big deal. Depending on what business you're in, if you have an ad campaign that is performing incredibly well, it has already been optimized by Facebook, optimized in Facebook's system. And if you, and I'm assuming this is Chad, by the way, because he said, hey sis, and I can't see your name on here because I know you're in a Facebook group right now. Love you, buddy. So if you have a campaign that's performing incredibly well, like I'll give you an example. I have a carousel ad for a client that was performing at 14 cents a click, and we let it run for a couple weeks or a few weeks, and it was performing quite well. And then we had to make a change to one of the properties because it sold. So then we needed to swap it out. Well, I knew it's like, okay, if we have to go and make a change to it, it's going to reset the campaign. Essentially, it's going to pull it down out of circulation, and we're going to make our edits and our changes. We're going to republish that campaign, and Facebook has to run it through their approval system again. So they have to make sure that all of our little tweaks and changes that we made are still compliant with Facebook's ads policies, and that we didn't accidentally insert a swear word into our text, or we didn't change the link on the landing page destination and send it to a CBD product, which is prohibited, or we didn't send it to a website for a multi-level marketing product. So Facebook is going to double check our work, but that pulls it out of circulation. It can take up to 24 hours for that ad to get approved again. So you've lost a lot of that momentum that your campaign had before. And in this example I'm giving you where the carousel ad was getting 14 cents a click, we pulled it down, we made our edits. We had to at that point. Property sold, we swapped it out. And then when I republished the campaign, our ad costs spike up to 25 cents a click and down to 25, 22 cents a click. That's significantly more expensive when you're running thousands and thousands of people through an ad. So that's unfortunate, but it will do that until the campaign relevels that out again. So by swapping that out and making that change, yeah, we lose the beautiful clicks and the optimization that we had rolling, but it's all about the trade-off and the sacrifice. Do you have to make that change to that campaign? If yes, don't worry about it. This is just the way campaigns go. Yeah. If you had a great performing campaign, you pull it down, make some edits, remount that campaign, it might be a little more expensive for you. The other way around it is just turn off that campaign and duplicate it and start a brand new fresh one. It's another way of going about it. But if it's just something as simple as a spelling mistake that most people are overlooking, and you have to outweigh like which is the lesser of the evils. People criticizing you over a spelling mistake in the ad, which is incredibly common. I'm super guilty of this myself. Or is it worth pulling that ad down, editing that spelling mistake, remounting that campaign, and then suffering a dip in your ad cost performance? So anyway, what I'm trying to say, the whole point of this is that it's not like when you put up an organic post on your Facebook page and you're like, oh, I'll just go edit what I said there. I'll just go edit that, quickly edit, and then republish, and then wait, and when you walk away. No, when it comes to ads, you don't touch them. Leave them alone, because it takes a few days in the system for it to optimize. So think about it this way. Once an ad gets approved, there's that little thing called the learning phase. You'll notice it, instead of the campaign just performing as normal, it'll be caught in this learning phase. And it takes time for Facebook to take that ad, serve it out to the audience that you've chosen, and for Facebook to accumulate enough data while it's serving that campaign to figure out, okay, of the 1 million people you want me to serve this to, this pocket of that 1 million over here are the people who are actually purchasing or engaging or clicking or doing the thing you want them to do. So Facebook learns, instead of spreading it out among that full 1 million, they're like, oh, we found a pocket of people over here. We're going to focus on them over here because they're getting you the best results, the best ad costs of what you're asking me to do. So Facebook will optimize that ad for the audience that you're serving it to, and your ad costs, normally it takes 24, 48 hours, or depending on what volume of ad spend you're doing, it could be a couple hours if you're spending thousands of dollars, or it could be a couple days or a few days if you're not spending very many dollars. But it takes time for Facebook to optimize to serve it to the right people within the right pocket of people within the overall audience you're asking for. And when you edit a campaign, Facebook pulls it down out of circulation and then double checks your work. If everything checks out, they remount that campaign, and then it kind of resets the whole thing all over again. Then Facebook has to like start fresh and sample it back out to everyone. So anyway, weigh out the weigh out the lesser of the evils. If you can let that spelling mistake ride because you're getting 14 cents a click, ride that out. Just do it. If you have to make the change, then go make the change. So that's one of the things to avoid. So don't just arbitrarily edit a campaign because you feel like it. There's a trade-off to it. And then we have our naming structures. So let me do another screen share again, pull us back in here. So notice these are the names here. In this case, I have a campaign, an ad set, and an ad. In this, I've named them all test. So it will get very confusing as I'm navigating through. Let me show you some examples. I'm going to close that. I don't want to publish. Let me show you some examples of, well, these are campaign names. So you notice I'm on the campaign tab here. These are campaign names. And then if I go into my ad sets, I'm on selection. Let's unselect. Let's unselect what we got selected here. So then we have, our campaign names. If I click on my ad set tab, then we have my ad set names. And then I have my ad names. There we go. So then if I go back to my campaigns, let's look at that real estate workshop one. There it is right there. And the campaign's currently off. But I clicked into it, and let me get rid of these drafts to get them out of our way. Discard these drafts. Bye-bye, drafts. There we go. Sorry, back to my campaigns. Let's click on, where's my real estate workshop? There. So I have two different ad sets inside here. One is going to my cold audience, one is going to my warm audience. And I know that these ad sets are related to the real estate workshop. So if I go into my ads for that campaign, it's clearly labeled as the real estate workshop. So if I just left those on the default naming conventions, then they would all be called ad set and ad. It would be generic naming, so that when I'm looking at my reporting, I'd have no differentiation between the two whatsoever. So when I'm comparing results to say, did my warm audience perform better for me than my cold audience? Do I need to tweak the targeting on my cold audience? Where am I getting better performance? Where am I not? If everything is named the same and it's all generic, then when you finally get to the point where you're trying to improve your ads and see what worked and what didn't work, which by the way, we cover off in week 4 of the Facebook ads boot camp, we go over reporting and optimizing. So you know how to read all those reports, understand how to make sense of when you spent your money, you ran your ad, good for you, step 1. But how do you know what worked and how do you improve it going forward? Well, if you have no regard whatsoever for how you've named those campaigns or your ad sets or your ads, and you can make, there's no perfect formula. You can make your own naming structure. It doesn't matter. Just have things named and labeled in a way that makes sense to you so that when you go back in, you can clearly look at the results and understand how things performed so that you can actually make some choices. And so you can, what am I trying to say here? The words are like right there, but they're not there. So you can make better business decisions moving forward, armed with all of the data, painting a full picture and giving you context versus taking a wild guess at what worked, what didn't work, and then why didn't my ad work, and ending up with the, I don't know. If you properly name your ad sets, your campaigns, your ads, if you properly, and when I say properly, whatever's proper to you, the definition of properly in this is name them, give them a name. Don't let it be the generic name Facebook picks for you, and have it give some context to it so it'll make sense to you when you do get to the point where you need to look back and read the results. So you might be dabbling in ads right now and just getting started, and you might not really care what they're named. You just go ahead and you run a campaign. But down the road, when it does come to the time where you're starting to level up your ads game a little bit, you will run into some things where you need to be able to analyze the data, and it can get really confusing. Now, cool little trick though, if you do need to go in and edit any of these, you can click on the little edit pencil beside the name, and you can just rename that whatever you want. April 13th. That's when this real estate workshop is taking place, by the way. If you haven't registered, you can still register at thedigitalgal.com. And I just published. Notice how it's uploading. Guess what? There are a few areas that you can make edits to a campaign, and it doesn't resend it for approval. Editing the name of a campaign, an ad set, or an ad doesn't resend the campaign for approval. So you're okay to do that. Also, changing your budget. So let's go back here, and these guys are all off. Let's go unselect all of these guys here. And let's just go back to like the last 7 days, for example. And I'm on engagement, that's why. Back to my default. So I can see budget in here, right? I can click the little edit pencil and I can change my budget right there, and I can hit publish. And that's not going to take this and resend it for approval. So if I make these little pencil edits to my name, a little pencil edit to my budget here, that's not going to resend it for approval, and you're going to be safe. You're going to be good to go. So let me see here. Have I gone over all 5, or do I have? Oh, I got another one in here. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm like, that's all the things you need to know. I'm like, oh, I got one more tucked in here. So before I dive into that, heads up, if you're watching this live right now, there was a super secret keyword at the very beginning of this broadcast that you might want to go and check out on the replay so that I can get you something cool. Just saying. The other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check out thedigitalgal.com/contest. Here, let me pull this down for a second while I'm chatting about this, and then we'll talk about that last part. You're going to want to head over to thedigitalgal.com/contest. And that's going to give you an entry form to be able to enter for, again, I have another Kate Spade bag that's being given away. And congratulations to Shannon, who won the last one. So that's thedigitalgal.com/contest. That gets you on the email list so you know when these shows are going live. I've got 2 live shows a week. This one, which is What in the Ads is Going On. And then every Thursday, I have the video marketing show. All of these shows are sponsored by our amazing friends over at Restream, who sent me this lovely t-shirt, which I'm not wearing because it clashes with my pink, but it's I wanted to give them a giant shout out and a giant thank you. Restream is what is allowing me to stream this broadcast that you're seeing right here on multiple channels. So I'm broadcasting this on YouTube. I'm broadcasting this on the Digital Gals Facebook page. I'm also broadcasting this into several Facebook groups that I'm an administrator of. So you're seeing me in multiple places. How am I making that happen? I'm using Restream. And the Thursday show is fully produced entirely inside the Restream studio, which is completely mind-blowingly user-friendly. And to put this in context, my best friend is Jen Herman. If you don't know her, she's the queen of everything Instagram. She wrote the book on it. She's incredible. She's amazing. Love that gal. But we lovingly call her One Button Jen. And she's going to hate me for telling this story. But One Button Jen, she literally is that. If it requires her hitting more than one button, she's just not doing it. You cannot get her to do it. So when I'm trying to get her into the Restream studio, because I want to prove to her that One Button Jen can produce a beautiful show inside Restream, inside their live studio, with little to no work. There's already templates in there with backgrounds and overlays and everything already in there. Beautiful ways to pull up your titles, beautiful ways to pull up text on the screen. It's already in there. It's already pre-built. One Button Jen is going to love it. So if you haven't checked out Restream, you're going to head over to thedigitalgal.com/Restream, and you can sign up for a free account right there on the spot and give it a whirl, because you will be surprised. You can make a beautiful broadcast like this, and it doesn't have to be so complicated. But I'm using Ecamm right now with Restream. They play nice together. I love that. And that's what allows me to play with things like this. So let's talk about that last thing that we're going to try and avoid here, which is inconsistent ad account use. We've all been guilty of this at one point or another. I know it. Now, I'll preface this with saying that Facebook does not make it easy on us, okay? It's not you, it's Facebook. And that's why I hate using the word mistakes, because this is not necessarily a mistake. It's a symptom of how Facebook's entire ad structure and system is set up. So if I'm on my cell phone, let's say I'm on my cell phone here, and I want to boost a post. So if I haven't taken the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp, which reboots starting May 4th, by the way, sign yourself up at swiftkickingtheads.com. If you haven't taken the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp and you don't know how to create ads using Ads Manager and you're still hitting boost post, that's okay. That's a great starting point. I'm not going to knock you for it. That is great. I call it the gateway drug of getting started on Facebook ads. It's okay that you're there. So if you're hitting that boost post button, generally, it's going to default to your personal ad account. So every single one of us, when we sign up for a Facebook account, quietly in the background, Facebook is like, oh, all right, there's an account for Amanda Robinson as a person. We're going to give her an ad account too. And this is kind of like a legacy issue of, Facebook back in the day to like Facebook now, where we have Business Manager, Business Suite, a whole bunch of business tools, and we have ad accounts that live on the business side. Well, guess what? There's still ad accounts that live on the personal side too. And so when you go to boost that post, it's defaulting to your personal ad account. You might have more than one ad account, or here's where the real issue comes in, is that you might have more than one admin on your page. So if you have more than one person who is an administrator on your page, and you have more than one person who is hitting that boost post button, the ads are defaulting to their own personal ad account. So your company might be paying, say, $1,000 a month to run Facebook ads, but you're doing it through different employees who are just boosting posts here and there. Well, when you go to look in in your main ad account or whatever ad account you think you are operating out of, you might only see $300 in spend. What happened to the other $700? Where is it? Did these ads just disappear off? Did they not happen? No, they're actually just living inside all of those other administrators' personal ad accounts because they were boosting posts from their own ad account without knowing. So the way to remedy that is, first of all, set up a business manager account. Go to business.facebook.com, set it up from the ground up, or if you have Facebook Business Suite, which is now starting to roll out more globally to everybody. I don't even have it yet. But it's one of the two. You'll have one or the other. You won't have both. You'll have Business Manager or you'll have Business Suite. Whichever, you can create a business ad account inside Business Manager, inside your business settings, and then you can assign administrator access to all the people who need to spend money off of that ad account. So even if you are going to boost that post, that's okay. You'll have a drop-down menu and you can choose a different ad account. So whether you're using a business ad account or not, just make sure if there's more people in your accounts that are spending money, make sure you identify what ad account you are spending. Is your company account? Learn it, figure it out, get somebody like me to help you, whatever it takes. Just use one ad account consistently. Why? Well, when you're using an ad account, you're training it, essentially. the data that gets housed inside there is incredibly valuable. So I was having a conversation last week. What week is this? We're on Wednesday. This week? Monday. I was having a conversation on Monday. and this person had in their, they had a video that the page ran, and that page that they were an administrator on had like 30,000 video views. Excellent. So now they wanted to create an audience of people who watch that video and retarget them with ads. Well, we wanted to go and look at the performance. Well, how did that first one perform to get you that 30,000 views? How did that ad perform? Well, that ad was created in somebody else's ad account from the page, another administrator who boosted it from their own account that we don't have visibility to. So we couldn't spot check the quality of those views. What age were they? Where were they located? Demographically, geographically. We couldn't get any information and data on that, on those views, because they didn't happen within one cohesive ad account. So even if you don't think it's a big deal now, down the road, these things snowball and become a problem. So, and a lot of people just, when you first start doing ads or boosting posts or doing any of this, you have no idea that these are even a thing. You have no idea. You have a personal ad account, and that you can go and create a business ad account, and that you can give access to the ad account to other people. And don't even get me started on how your ad account and your pixel talk to each other. So if you're spreading yourself across all these different ad accounts, but your pixel is only attached to one ad account, and then you have all this activity that's happening from your ads and it's not getting attributed to your pixel, you're just losing, you're just taking your money and into Facebook land, and it can get expensive. So everybody out there who says Facebook ads don't work for me, or Facebook ads are too expensive, or you get so frustrated with Facebook ads, I feel you, okay? Because everything that we just talked about, let me recap these quickly. Everything we just talked about, these are things that I'm seeing people, business owners and entrepreneurs, consistently fall into. They're like little miniature traps that everybody's getting. You know, I can call it from a million miles away. We get into a video call. You say, here's my symptom. Like, let me diagnose your problem. It's probably one of these things. So special ad category, not using it if you're required because you don't think you're required, but it's an AI, artificial intelligence system. So I don't care whether you're selling services in real estate or not. If your language in your ad keeps triggering the AI, it's going to get rejected all the time. You can play the cat and mouse game to have it manually reviewed by a human, but then the AI is going to pick it up again later and just reject it again. It's very frustrating. The consequences of that are you can ultimately end up with getting your ad account shut down if you've accumulated too many rejections. So careful with that. Resetting your budget unknowingly in drafts. When you're meandering around in Ads Manager, you're changing a whole bunch of settings when you're first setting up a campaign, it's in draft mode, and you're clicking back and forth between different screens, and you already decided, I'm going to spend $50 on this, and you set your budget, but then you're changing a whole bunch of settings. Sometimes changing of settings can reset the budget back to Facebook's defaults. You saw in my case, it reset my lifetime budget to a default of $700 Canadian, which is not what I want to spend on that campaign. And then we have unnecessary editing of campaigns, which triggers them to get resent for review, pulls them down out of circulation. So if you're editing headline, text, the link on where it's being sent to, if you're editing your targeting, all of those things are going to trigger that ad being pulled out of circulation, being resent for review within Facebook, which is going to run it through the AI again, but it can take up to 24 hours for that to happen. So you'll lose a lot of momentum, plus it resets all of that optimization in the back end that Facebook had already optimized and gone through like the learning phase and everything, resets you back to scratch. You might as well just turn the campaign off, duplicate it, start fresh. Then we have the naming structures are a hot mess. So if your naming is all over the map, or you're just leaving it on the default names that Facebook assigns to a campaign, an ad set, and an ad, then down the road, when it comes time for you to actually analyze and dig deep into the data on what worked, what didn't work, how do we improve your ads moving forward, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because if everything is named the same, then you don't know. It's like if every kid out there was named Jerry. And if you look at a report card for Jerry, which of those Jerrys got an A and which of them got a C? We don't know because they're all the same. Anyway, that's a terrible example. And then inconsistent ad account use. Actually, there was a second part to this. One is, like I mentioned, if you're spreading yourself across all these different ad accounts, then you have no consolidated reporting. And in the end, it can get very confusing, as well as you're kind of running blind. It just needs to be consolidated. The other part of that is if you have ad accounts you're not using, they can get deactivated. Facebook can deactivate ad accounts for dormant, not being used. So don't go into Business Manager and go out there and create 5 different ad accounts just for the sake of having 5 different ad accounts. Facebook will shut them down, and it can get very frustrating. So there you go. Those are the top hot tips on some of the top Facebook ads mistakes that I'm seeing. And I hate using the word mistakes, I know, but some of the issues that I'm seeing more common tangles that people run themselves into when trying to run their Facebook ads. So, all right. So let's go back. I know I told everybody at the beginning of this broadcast, but if there's a super secret keyword, if you are still watching this, and you're watching this not on your mobile phone, then you're going to want to whip out your mobile phone. You're going to want to scan that QR code, and you're going to want to talk to my BF, my bot friend, who's going to hook you up, if you know what I mean. So grab your phone, scan that, go talk to my BF, and then if you also want a chance to win this lovely, put it on this side, this lovely Kate Spade purse. This is the last week that I'm going to be running the contest for this, and then our prize changes up. So if you want a chance to win this, you're going to sign up over at thedigitalgal.com/contest. This is different than that. That is different than this. That you can scan with your cell phone. This you can have a chance at winning by going to thedigitalgal.com/contest. That's going to sign you up for the email list. And again, just for those who are tuning in, I do have next week, I have on Tuesday a workshop for real estate professionals. So if you want to learn Facebook ads as it pertains to real estate, what's working right now in real estate, especially with the hot real estate market that's happening, how that's changing the shape of the landscape of how you're running your ads, what's working, what's not, then you'll want to tune in to that. You'll find that at thedigitalgal.com. That's happening on Tuesday. And then, the upcoming boot camp remounts and reboots again on May 4th. So if you want to learn ads from the ground up, you can go over to swiftkickingtheads.com. I'm going to eventually consolidate all these links into like a quick swipe file because I know I'm all over the map for you right now. But anyway, if you've enjoyed this show, let me know. And if you make sure you tune in tomorrow to the video marketing show. I'm going to be going over everything you need for video ad specs. So what size do you make them? How big, how little, how long, how everything. If you don't know what's performing, what's working, what's not, and you want to learn, okay, I'm going to make some video ads. What size do I make them and where do I put them? We're going to cover all of that on tomorrow's show with the video marketing show, sponsored by Restream. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to pull this down here right now. We did it. We did it. This is our Wednesday show. So this is what in the ads is going on. I would love for you to sign up for that digitalgal.com/contest, get on the email list, and then you will get an email with every week. So you get the heads up on when these shows are dropping and what topics we're going to be covering. If you have any topics you want me to cover on this show to geek out on ads together, let me know. Drop it here in the comments, drop it in the replay, whatever. I'd love to hear from you. With that, I'm going to hop off. So I am Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal. Thank you for geeking out with me on my favorite topic in the whole wide world, which is everything to do with ads. So I will catch you next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you later. Ciao.